down!
Mother, no!
You are watching The Bible Witness.
I'm walking quickly through the alley to meet a man I knew.
Hey, handsome. Want some fun?
A prostitute tried to seduce me from a doorway, her voice teasing, her smile meant to lure. But I didn't slow down.
You don't like chicks, sir? Let me serve you in the way they can.
In this city of Sodom, pleasure reigned while the poor rotted. I keep walking until the wooden sign of the restaurant came into view. I stepped inside. The air was thick with steam, the scent of bread and sweat. There he is, the man I'm going to meet. He's sitting alone at a worn wooden table. I approached without a word and sat across from him until he pulled back his hood, revealing a face I hadn't seen in years.
Uncle Abraham!
Hear me, Lot. You must leave Sodom immediately. A disaster is coming.
As he spoke, a sudden noise cracked through the room. Two men wrestling violently in a corner. No one stopped them. No one cared. The city was rotting from the inside. Why?
I was talking with God Himself just a week ago. I remember the night clearly, the moment the darkness shifted and He came toward me. I bowed low, heart trembling, and for a long moment we stood there in silence.
The outcry against Sodom is great. I will destroy them.
Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked?
No, if there are righteous in there, I'll spare them.
Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city.
If I find 50 righteous, I will spare the whole place.
What if 5 of the 50 are lacking?
I will not destroy it if I find 45.
What if 40 are found there?
I will not do it for the sake of 40.
Suppose 30 are found there.
I will not do it if I find 30.
What if 20 are found?
For the sake of 20, I will not destroy it.
Let not the Lord be angry. What if 10 are found?
For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it.
I exhaled long and low, my eyes closing. When I opened them, He was turning away. That's when I knew that I need to meet you.
How many righteous people did you find?
4. Only a family.
Silence fell like a stone between us. I stared down at the rough wood of the table, my thoughts heavy, swirling.
I can't let Sodom be destroyed. I must save it.
Lot, save yourself.
I didn't reply. I pressed my hands to the table, rose slowly to my feet. The light from the door poured in gold across the floor as I walked toward it, my shadow stretching behind me. Behind me, I felt Abraham's gaze, but I have decided. I thought my meeting with Uncle Abraham was kept secret, but it's not. Not to supernatural beings. Somewhere, far from the flickering oil lamps and murmurs of the tavern, Azrael watched me. On the table before them, a crystal orb glowed violently, and within it, my face. He knew everything.
Interesting.
When I arrived home, I saw my wife sitting at the table, fingers clenched tight around something. Salt. We don't have much left. She was living in her own mind, just like I'm living in my own mind too. She turned, finally, her eyes catching mine, but I was far away, still watching fire fall on cities in my mind.
We have no money left. Not even enough to buy salt.
I barely heard her. Her words floated past me like distant noise. I was home, but I wasn't really there. My mind was still echoing with Abraham's voice. She watched me sit down. I could feel her holding back all the words she wanted to throw. I couldn't even look at her. My finger tapped a slow, quiet rhythm into the wood, the only sound I could make. I'm still watching fire fall on cities in my mind. She turned away, retreating into herself, but she still held the salt like it was all we had left. Maybe it was. Next morning, I stood in the heart of Sodom, hand raised high, voice breaking through the crowd. I tried to warn them. Turn away from your wickedness. But it seems that my word has no impact on them. Judgment is near. The Lord will strike this city.
Will he rain down frogs or fire this time?
He will destroy it with fire and sulfur.
Bring your virgin daughters, then we'll listen.
You mock righteousness while standing on a cliff.
Go back to your prophet games, old man.
You still have time. You can still repent.
Why should we listen to you?
Because the Lord sent me to warn you.
Then tell your Lord we're not interested.
Even now your hearts are too proud to bow.
We bow to no one, especially not invisible gods.
And I stood there, hand falling to my side, breath heavy, my warning lost in a sea of laughter and pride. I came back covered in dust and silence, each step heavier than the last. As I reached the door, I could already feel her waiting. I opened it, and there she was, standing in the center of the room, hands on her hips, eyes burning beneath the lamplight. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me, knowing what would come.
What were you thinking, shouting in the street?
I didn't answer. I couldn't. My eyes dropped to the floor.
Now no one will lend us a single coin.
Our daughter stood off to the side, frozen in the shadows. They were scared.
They say your madness has cursed this house.
The fear behind her anger was understandable. Still, I said nothing. I turned away and walked to the far corner, away from them three. My daughter took a step toward me, then stopped. She thought of saying something but couldn't figure any word. I sank to the floor, my back against the cold stone, and folded into myself. My shoulders trembled, breath sharp, tears spilled into my hands. My daughter watched, eyes wet, gaze locked on me in silence. My breath hitched, body shaking in quiet sobs I couldn't stop. Only the lamplight watched as I collapsed beneath its flicker, alone in the dark. That night, 2 streaks of light cut across the night sky, fast, bright, and silent. A moment later, they crashed on the hillside. When the smoke cleared, 2 figures stood still in the haze, wings on their backs, robes glowing faintly. They were the angels. One of them, with long blonde hair, looked out toward the distant city.
Is this the place?
The other, calm and steady, kept his eyes on the same glowing skyline.
It is...
Suddenly, light rose from their bodies, then slowly faded. The wings vanished. The glow disappeared. By the time they started walking, they looked like ordinary men. Azrael stirred from stillness. The boy beside him clung to him in sleep, unaware. But Azrael's body had tensed. He had seen something. Without a word, he rose, the silk sheets sliding off his shoulders, bare chest rising with silent breath. Across the room, the crystal orb on the table was no longer dormant. It pulsed with light. And within it, 2 figures had appeared, the twin angels. Azrael stared into them, unblinking. The violet light inside his eyes intensified. A cold edge formed at his lips. His jaw clenched. The moment had arrived. I'm leaving, before dawn if I must.
Finally, you decided.
In the corner, our daughters huddled together, hands tight, watching silently.
I have warned them again and again, but they laugh, they mock, and they curse God's name.
The lamp flickered between us, its gentle pulse marking our silence.
Good.
The girls remained still, one's arm around the other, watching. But their hearts are stone. We can't change them. Still. I can't bear the thought that I just leave them to burn.
That's their choice.
I don't know if I still believe they want saving.
Then save what you can, Lot, even if it's only yourself.
Suddenly, a knock broke the tense silence. I opened it to two young men cloaked in soft light. Their presence was calm, otherworldly. "Please, come in." They stepped inside quietly, their shadows long across the dirt floor. I shut the door behind them, latching it slowly, already sensing what was coming. I know who were they.
My name is Gabriel.
And I am Uriel.
We have been sent by the Lord.
You must take your family and leave the city.
Leave? When?
Tonight.
Before the sun rises.
Wait, leave now? We haven't packed.
There's no time to prepare. There is no time.
You must leave everything behind.
Her eyes widened, tears forming. She didn't ready to leave our belongings behind. It took all our life to make them.
All our things, our lives.
I stood still as their shadows stretched across the tent walls. Something sacred had already begun to fall apart. They came at night, surrounding my house. I seen them through the cracks.
Bring them out, Lot. Bring those beautiful men out, so we can know them.
The whole crowd roared, waving sticks and stones. The fire behind them made their faces look even more twisted. Then a stone flew through the dark and slammed into the door with a heavy thud. I stood frozen, hand on the latch, torn. But I couldn't hide. I opened the door and stepped outside. Right away, a stone struck my forehead. Blood spilled down my face. I staggered from the pain, but forced myself to stay on my feet. The crowd kept shouting. Someone else lifted another stone. "What do you want?" Then the crowd moved aside. Someone was coming forward. He walked out from among them. Azrael, torchlight hit his eyes, cold and sharp.
Hand them over, Lot. Let us taste them.
Is that him?
Uriel nodded slowly without saying a word. Gabriel clenched his hand and looked toward the door again. Azrael took another step, pointing to the mob behind him. Blood was still dripping from my head, but I stared him down. My fear was gone. All I felt was anger. I slammed the door shut. The firelight from outside vanished, and everything fell into shadow. I leaned against the wood, breathing hard, blood still trickling from the side of my head. My daughters rushed toward me, both pale and shaking.
Father, let us go outside. Let them take us, not them.
I froze. My heart sank. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
They're guests under our roof. This is the only way.
My chest ached. I clenched my fists to keep them from shaking of what I heard from my own daughters. "You don't know what you're asking."
You raised us to do what is right.
That broke me. A single tear slid down my face. God forgive me. I opened the door. The shouting and fire hit me like a wave. "Please, take my daughters instead. They are virgins." Laughter burst from the crowd. Some slapped their thighs.
Virgin daughters, eh? I'd try the small one first.
Then everything stopped. Azrael's smile vanished. His eyes turned to ice.
No, we came for the guests.
Murmurs rippled through the mob, faces growing darker.
Tear him down!
The crowd erupted in a howl. Blood, fire, and hate surged forward. Weapons raised, they charged. Then, out of expectation, Gabriel stepped into the yard, his face calm but firm, walking straight through the smoke and heat. Uriel followed him. Then they began to glow. Their bodies vanished into light. Wings flared out. Robes turned to flame. They stood no longer as men, but as beings made of heaven. The men's eyes started to blind.
I can't see! Help! My eye!
But Azrael didn't seem to be affected by their power.
Azrael.
You traitor.
Azrael took one step forward.
This is where I belong now.
You twisted this city.
You brought darkness here.
They chose me.
One of the men collapsed, sobbing behind him.
You will answer for what you've done.
You fell to feed your pride.
I brought them freedom.
You enslaved them to lust and wrath.
And they welcomed me with open arms.
Your time is ending, Azrael.
Azrael suddenly lunged. Gabriel lifted his hand across his chest to dog to hit. Uriel struck from the side. Azrael's shoulder burst in flame. Light surged from Gabriel's palm straight at Azrael. Azrael screamed as fire overtook him. His eyes bulged. Flame swallowed his face. He was destroyed. The light stated to faint. All around them, the men of the city lay scattered, moaning, clutching their blinded faces. I saw Gabriel turn toward the door, and in that instant, I knew we had to go now. Uriel didn't wait. He grabbed my wife by the wrist and pulled her. Gabriel reached for me and yanked me toward the doorway. My legs moved before my thoughts could catch up. My daughters were just behind us, clutching each other's hands like they were afraid to let go. We ran. All of us. Out into the night, away from the house, away from everything. I didn't dare look back. Gabriel led me across the ridge of sand, my feet sinking with every step. I didn't ask where we were going. I just followed. I could hear my wife's footsteps behind me, uneven, dragging. Uriel held her up. My daughters stayed close, hands clasped, eyes locked ahead. I hadn't seen them cry. I don't know if they still could. We moved in a line like shadows, the six of us, the city shrinking behind. Each step forward felt heavier than the last. Then the sky broke. A single line of fire split the dark. My breath caught. More came. Fire poured down from the stars. The sky itself turned against the place we'd called home. I didn't need to see it. The sound reached me before the meaning did. Somewhere behind that horizon, people still ran, still hoped. But hope can't outrun fire. Some prayers are already too late. Even the strong froze. There comes a moment when even violence forgets what it's for. The ground must have shattered. Pain fell on the innocent and the guilty alike. Judgment doesn't aim. All gone, all burned. They must have screamed. But death turned their voices to silence. Flame found flesh. That was always the end of this. I didn't need to watch. I already carried enough ghosts. Fire rose like a verdict written in the sky. The city was not just ending, it was being erased. And still, they ran. Even at the end, people cling to walls and gates as if they can hold back heaven. The final fall came not from the fire, but from the weight of what the city had become.
My house! My thing!
Do not look back!
My wife cannot escape the city, not in her mind.
Mother, no!
And then she was no longer my wife. There was no prayer for what had just happened. My tears fell. The past gripped my wife harder than any flame could. We stopped our journey in a cave. When I looked up, I broke. She was gone. Just like that. I didn't even get to hold her. I wiped my tears, but they kept coming. My eyes blurred, but her face stayed clear in my mind. I lay down, drained. My arm fell beside me. I felt hollow. I closed my eyes. Each breath hurt. I kept seeing her. The moment she turned. My daughters sat nearby, quiet. I couldn't look at them. I couldn't say her name.
Everything is gone. Cities, the people. No one survived. Not even Mother. We are alone now. Only us and Father. If we do nothing, there will be no more people. We must do what is necessary.
I was drunk and unconscious when they started to do it. I didn't know anything. I was still asleep while she did the unforgivable. I was raped by both my daughter. Was that the karma for all the sins I committed when I was in Sodom? Guess I would never know. Behind us, the cities burned, and I had nothing left.
At the first, God made the heaven and the earth.
We shall make man in our image.
Eat this, and you will see the secret your father hid from you.
You are watching The Bible Witness.
Let there be light.
At the first, God made the heaven and the earth. The stars ignited, speckling the canvas of the cosmos with ancient whispers of light. Then the oceans stirred, tides heaving under the command of an unseen will. Thunder cracked, and clouds churned like living creatures across the heavens. It was a chaos sculpted by divinity. Then God created the angels. Majestic creatures to serve the Lord on high, they soared in harmony, praising the Creator with holy songs. And then He continued His creation. The sun rose its warmth, spilling over creation. The angels danced around it in joy. The Creator pointed again, and from the opposite side, the moon bloomed silver, casting a soft hush over the starlit expanse. But one angel, once luminous like the rest, now his eyes filled with rebellion. Satan, he led a scarlet-winged and wrathful host toward the throne of their Creator. But their power is no superior to the Creator, the rebel host ignited, their cries tearing through the sky as they fell, burning. Clouds swallowed them in a roaring storm. They became ruin incarnate, their descent scarring the ground with craters of fire. From above, the Creator looked down in grief, a father mourning sons lost to pride. Then, resolute, He raised both arms like a conductor before a cosmic symphony. Life answered His gesture. Fish leapt from the ocean in silver cascades, birds wheeled across the skies in swirling flocks. Forests erupted from the ground, lush and vibrant life gathered on branches heavy with blossoms.
We shall make man in our image.
He stepped upon the earth. Dust rose at His feet, spinning, lifting, forming. From that storm of earth, a shape took form. A man clothed in leaves, his body still glistening. Adam opened his eyes, and the world blinked into being. The Creator led him through the Garden of Eden, a sanctuary of abundance. At the heart of it stood the tree of wisdom, its red fruit blazing like stars among its branches.
God, please made me a companion.
The Creator listened and pondered. Then, with emotion soft as thought, He summoned a rib from Adam's side. From this bone, He shaped beauty itself. Evening. She lay among the flowers, radiant and new. Adam and Eve found each other. Their lips met like dawn meeting the earth. They sat beneath the stars, hand in hand, and in that moment, love took root. Not far from the Eden was a wasteland shaped by divine judgment. In its deepest crater, Satan lay, twisted by hatred. He's waiting. He changed into a serpent, red as the pit that birthed it. Now, it's time to revenge. Eve did not know what approached. She slept, her breath calm beneath the dappling leaves. The serpent entered in silence, its coils finding the branches like memory finds longing. Her eyes fluttered open. Light touched her face. The red serpent hung above, its tongue flicking soundlessly. She stared, the apple lowered, glinting like temptation made flesh.
Eat this, and you will see the secret your father hid from you.
Her lips touched the fruit. The sweetness spread, heavy and strange. When Adam came back, he was shocked.
What are you doing? Why are you eating the forbidden fruit?
The serpent told me that I will see the secret our father hid from us.
But when she looked back, the serpent was no more.
What serpent?
She convinced him like the way the serpent convinced her. He trusted her because he was blind in love. Then, with a slow breath, he took a bite. Suddenly, the sky convulsed. Thunder split the heavens. God has found out. Adam and Eve clung to each other as darkness flooded paradise. God's fury was no longer bared. Grass turned to ash. The ground tore open, lava spilling like wrath. Adam and Eve realized they had done something really stupid, and they had disappointed their God.
I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shalt bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Because you had hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and had eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shalt you eat of it all the days of your life.
Then God shows them the way. He said nothing. He only pointed. A gate opened in the garden wall, a portal to a land of sorrow. The two sat at its threshold. Eve wept, her face buried in trembling hands. Beside her, Adam placed a gentle kiss upon her brow. They rose in silence. Step by step, they crossed the threshold into exile. The victorios of evil is just beginning. The world begins in stillness and sorrow, an empty canvas waiting for purpose. Adam and Eve do not speak, for language has not yet caught up to the weight of exile. They've made a vow to rebuild not just a life, but meaning. Even the earth seems to respond, whispering with water that life, though fragile, is willing to return. Adam starts to spread his sweat on the field as God has foretold, and Eve was beside him day and night. Each stone they built is a small resistance against the memory of paradise lost. Each cloth she weaved is the beginning of culture, care, and belonging. Nature, once distant, begins to draw near them again, testing their resilience. Adam reclaims humans' power over the nature. The fire cooks the meat and warms their new home. Their labor bears fruit. A home stands amidst the nature Aden now. Something miraculously happened in her womb. The stars now witness something different. A new life came from them. The cry of two babies. The twin were as beautiful as the stars. One they do not know is that God hasn't abandoned them, nor never. A hill blanketed in soft green stretches under a flawless sky, peaceful, untouched. The sheep graze quietly, their hooves pressing gently into the dewy earth. Abel, the younger son of Adam, lies sleeping in the sun, his body relaxed, the flock gently clustered around him. A single foot disturbs the grass. Someone has arrived, unnoticed. That was Cain. His face twisted with hatred, fingers clenched around the sickle. Abel's eyes snap open, startled. Cain lifts his weapon high, face contorted with rage. The moment the blow falls, the field erupts, blood runs slowly into the grass. Life spilled, irreversible. Suddenly, a searing bolt crashes into the field, splitting silence with divine anger. God appears in radiant fury. Judgment has arrived.
Cain, what have you done?
Cain collapses, sobbing. Behind him, Abel lies still, the grass soaked red.
Lord, why do you accept his offering and not mine?
God's eyes shine like fire as he condemns Cain to wander, and that's how the first crime came to be. Humanity has flourished. Cities rise. Harvests stretch far. The earth now becomes almost as the paradise itself, and the sons and daughters of Eve being a part of it, but not just them. The sons of God was there with the human, and they were in love with the daughters of human, a forbidden love. Again, night descends. The house glows faintly, hiding within it something the stars dare not name. She was bearing a weight no mortal was meant to carry. Even he, maker of this fate, now watches, uncertain whether what comes is wonder or curse. Her cries shatter the quiet as something unpure is being born. The seducer's smile gone, replaced by dread. Whatever this creature is does not belong to this world. A Nephilim was born, and with it, the balance of creation shudders. The world had changed. Men built their towers high, the weak were shackled. Freedom bartered for glory. Power roared without mercy. As man turned against his brother, the palace of the Nephilim loomed. Majestic, grotesque, a monument to stolen power. They crowned with cruelty and cannibalism, lifting goblets as if their triumph could silence the dead. They don't know what's coming. The earth started to groan beneath marble and pride. The Nephilim king felt it, barely, but enough. A sudden jolt. The cup crashed, blood-red wine spilling like an omen. Even the bound could feel it. Something descending. Warriors forgot war, for the sky had become their enemy. Not a tide, but water rose as wrath incarnate. People ran like ants before fire. No wall could shield, no god they'd built could save. Tyre Nephilim king faced the flood alone, unmoving, arrogance fossilized in fear. His crown held fast, but his eyes already tremble. Even the tallest tower was but dust before the great flood. The song of the city became a chorus of drowning and death. Once a god among men, he now clawed at the water like any other dying soul. He now see his own death by his own eyes. His breath ran short from knowing the divine had answered. He looked skyward for mercy, but the sky offered only shadow. Suddenly, he saw a great vessel split the flood. Steady against the wind, Noah faced no man, only the promise that something must begin again. Animals on board, 2 by 2, quiet and watching, as the old world vanished behind them. Above the vessel, a dove soared, bearing the memory of land. Noah's gaze cut through storm and sorrow. He had seen too much, but still, he believed. And finally, there's a sign of hope. The water has retreated. The sun returned in tenderness, like a benediction. The earth breathed again, scattered with traces of survival. The ark settled into silence. The journey done, above, the sky held no more fury. Together they stood, not as survivors, but as seed-bearers of what must come next. The sons of Noah stared skyward, uncertain but unbroken. In Noah's arms was joy, not loud, but rooted in the relief of the living. They held each other. Beast and bird stepped into the new world, guided by instinct older than fear. Noah made a first offering for God before the new world could begin. Noah gave thanks, for mercy, for memory, for one more chance. The sons of Noah watched the smoke rise, but something dark was raising in their mind. From the dust of the flood, a new city rose, stone upon stone, ambition laid into the bones of the valley. With shoulders strained and feet cracked, they built not just walls, but a future shaped by human will. Earth and water, bound by fire and sweat, the ancient formula for dreams reaching upward. Straw gathered like thought into structure, every bundle a silent prayer to ascend. While men labored, women nourished, their quiet hands just as vital to this rising defiance. The tower stretched toward heaven, not as worship, but as challenge. From the heights, a watcher frowned, not out of jealousy, but knowing. Men had once again forgotten who they were. Beneath canvas and secrecy, plans more daring than any war were unfolding. The sons of Noah now schemed to rewrite the story, a tower that can touch the heaven. Their smiles bore no malice, only pride, the most dangerous seed of all. Sem stood in silence, eyes lifted in defiance. He knew he was being watched. His gaze locked upward, answering a challenge he felt before it was spoken. From the sky, the angel looked back, not with wrath, but with solemn warning. Heaven had heard mankind's stare. Beneath a heaven spangled with stars, torches danced and scaffolds rose, the edge of a second fall. The proud rested easy, unaware their dream had already begun to crumble. Even the beasts slept, ignorant of what's about to happen. The dreamer who once looked skyward now rested, unaware he'd touched something sacred. Upon the heights of men's ambition, God stood.
If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
And thus, the judgment has spoken. Sem's eyes snapped open. Light stabbed into his vision, and distant screams broke the morning stillness. He pushed himself upright, breath caught, as if woken into a world that no longer knew his name. The city lay in shambles before him. Smoke curled in the light, and order had collapsed into ash. Dust and flame swallowed the streets. Where there was purpose, now there was panic. Their mouths moved wildly, but no meaning passed between them. Kneeling in the dirt, they pray, but the sky gave no answer. Sem stood frozen, the noise around him fractured into sounds he no longer understood. Japhet burst from the tent, eyes darting, searching for sense in the unraveling. Ham stared into the smoke, as if waiting for the city to explain itself. Their voices clashed, each calling out, but none could reach the others. Japhet shouted, his voice filled with urgency, but the words were foreign even to his own blood. Sem blinked, startled. Nothing he heard made sense. Ham replied, loud and sharp, but the sound cracked like a stranger's cry. Sem's face tightened. Every word struck him like noise through broken glass. Frustration flared, shouts layered over shouts, each voice climbing a different wall. Beneath the towering stone, the builders scattered. Unity crumbled into dust and discord. Seasons passed. Snow wrapped the ruins, covering pride in quiet, white forgetfulness. The forest swallowed the stone. Roots climbed the tower like a verdict. Wind scoured its broken crown. Sand buried the dream. The tower no longer remembered. Two figures moved through the fog, one aged by faith, the other untouched by fear. Abraham climbed ahead, his steps heavy with silence. Behind him, Isaac carried no burden but trust. The air thinned, the climb ended, but the weight of purpose pressed harder. Together they raised an altar, Isaac with care, Abraham with trembling hands.
Help me, my son.
Father, where is the lamb?
He suddenly grabbed his son's arm.
What are you doing?
I have the lamb with me here.
The boy's scream pierced the mist. Bound by trust betrayed, Isaac wept. Tears carved through Abraham's beard as the heavens dimmed.
Forgive me, my beloved son, for this is his will.
The cry rose, raw and pleading, echoing beyond the clouds. The blade rose, The boy's scream became a prayer too honest to silence. Thunder answered. Light split the sky. The knife fell, his breath halted. The moment had passed, but its weight remained. No sacrifice was made. Only the altar knew how close it had come.
Father.
The son he nearly gave up now stood whole before him.
Oh, my boy.
Faith and flesh held tight, grief melting into relief.
You have proved your faith. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you, and all the nations on earth will be blessed through you.
But Lord, the lamb.
The lamb will come from your line.
Abraham and his son fell to earth, their hearts bowed deeper than their bodies. The fear had passed. Only grace remained. 100 years since the day the Lord had made a promise with Abraham.
Esau, Esau.
Through clouded eyes, a blurred figure clad in coarse fur drifts closer, as if from memory.
Esau, you are my firstborn. Receive my blessing.
Lips touch a frail hand in reverence. His eyes shut softly, peace or illusion claiming his final breath. His wife turns away, dabbing tears that carry both grief and quiet triumph. A subtle smile flickers on Jacob's lips, the mask still holding. The door crashes open. Esau, the real one, stands there, untamed, furious, primal, fury radiating off his bare chest. Jacob turns in shock, framed by death and deception. Isaac now lifeless, the mother still frozen in silence. Esau's roar pierces the room, betrayal heavy in his breath as his eyes lock on his brother's disguise. Calm and unwavering, Jacob meets his brother's rage with the simple weight of truth.
Deceiver.
You sold me your birthright for a bowl of red stew, remember?
Rage explodes from Esau's throat, primal, guttural, uncontainable. His hand trembles as it wraps around a knife, steel glinting with murderous resolve. A scream rips through the tension, the mother's voice cracking with terror. Jacob reels back, drenched in sweat, eyes wide with raw fear. From below, Esau towers like wrath itself, blade lifted high, face twisted in fury. Seen from above, Jacob seems small, powerless, a trembling soul awaiting judgment. She rushes in, arms wrapping around Esau's fury, trying to tether the storm with love.
Run, Jacob.
At the threshold, Jacob hesitates, terror anchoring his feet to the ground. A guttural snarl escapes Esau, raw, wild, untamed. Jacob bursts through the doorway, legs pounding, heart racing, leaving home, betrayal, and blood behind. Alone now, he steps into the barren unknown, each stride a burden of guilt and destiny. The moon hung heavy and white above a mist-laced lake, stars scattered like whispers across the heavens. Jacob lay curled in the cold, the last embers of a fire glowing faint beside him, as silence blanketed the wilderness. Suddenly, a radiant beam split the sky, descending like a divine breath upon the earth. His eyes blinked open, pupils catching fire in the sudden brilliance that bathed his face. A staircase of pure light stretched from the heavens to the earth, angels gliding upon it, and atop stood a great gate, behind which radiated the presence of God. Awe engulfed Jacob's face, eyes wide, breath held, as if the stars themselves had spoken.
Jacob, son of Isaac, grandson of Abraham.
Jacob dropped to his knees, overcome, his body trembling before the weight of glory.
I am the Lord God of Abraham. The land on which you lie will belong to you and your descendants, as numerous as the dust of the earth. All nations will be blessed through you. I am with you, and I will not forsake you until my promise is fulfilled.
Tears streamed down Jacob's cheeks, unbidden and full of awe, as the words of heaven soaked through his soul. He sat up with a gasp, as if breaking the surface of a deep dream, heart racing, breath ragged. The lake lay still beneath the canopy of stars, as if guarding the memory of a divine encounter. His life now has a new purpose. Many Thinsges has changed after 20 years. In the courtyard of a wealthy home, joy blooms like spring. Laughter, music, and confetti whirl through the air as guests feast and dance in celebration. Jacob, now seasoned and resplendent in rich robes, reclines like a prince. At his side, two radiant women lean into him. His laughter rises above the clamor. Bold, triumphant, their faces glow with shared delight, basking in a moment that feels eternal. But from across the courtyard, Laban, his uncle and father-in-law, watches, brow furrowed like gathering clouds. In a corner, Tay sons of Laban cast silent glances toward Jacob, their smiles thin, their eyes filled with quiet discontent. Jacob lifts his cup high, the wine catching light as he drinks deep, unaware or unwilling to heed what was about to come.
You're leaving?
It is Jehovah's will. I must go.
Then leave alone.
My family and my flocks, they are rightfully mine.
I gave you everything. 20 years of shelter, my daughters, wealth. And this is your gratitude?
I was your servant, tricked more than once. What I earned I deserve. And your son's envy makes it clear I can stay no longer.
You're not leaving. This ends now.
Without waiting for a reply, Laban storms out, leaving Jacob standing still, eyes dark with thought. Jacob remains behind, silent, his gaze heavy, already measuring the path that lies ahead. Beneath a vast moonlit sky, a caravan winds through the land, camels, sheep, and silent figures drifting beneath constellations. Jacob rides ahead, his steps steady, the desert wind catching the edge of his robe. He made peace with his uncle, and also his brother. He was now a man shaped by many trials, haunted, resolute, searching the heavens. Along the river's edge, life flickers, tents glow, animals shift, and firelight dances over the water. Alone at the riverbank, Jacob sits still, shadows pooling around him. Suddenly, a stranger came to him. His breath catches, heart pounding. He rises, facing the figure. He realized who's facing him. Eyes like embers burn from the stranger's face. Ancient, divine, unyielding. With a cry like thunder, the figure surges forward, fury and purpose entwined. Jacob doesn't retreat. Shock flares, then hardens into defiance. The two figures clash, sweat pours from Jacob's brow, his muscles straining, his spirit refusing to yield. The stranger snarls, breath ragged, his divine fury burning through flesh. They struggle on, locked in a storm that will not break until dawn. The first light spills over the horizon, golden and absolute.
Release me. Morning approaches.
Not until you bless me.
The man nods, a flicker of divine approval kindling in his gaze. Then light floods the riverbank. A figure radiant with majesty stands above them. Flat on the ground, Jacob stares upward, overwhelmed, trembling, changed.
What is your name?
Jacob, son of Isaac.
You are no longer Jacob. You are now Israel. For you have wrestled with God and prevailed.
The heavens open wide, sunlight pure and relentless pouring over the earth. On his knees, Jacob breathes deep, the name Israel echoing in his chest. Under a sky reborn, the caravan moves forward toward new lands and a new destiny. In a hall of stone and silence, Jacob sits enthroned, the 12 before him, his legacy in flesh and blood. The sons stand in line, each one a future nation, each one bearing the weight of their father's gaze. They climb together, old hands, young shoulders, ascending into mist and memory. On the summit they gather, a single line silhouetted against the heavens. Two tombs lie side by side, and 12 men stand in silence. Sons, heirs, witnesses. Upon the stones, 2 names etched in eternity: Isaac, Abraham. Israel rests his hand on Joseph's shoulder. His most beloved boy, the older brother's eyes narrow, jealousy hardening like stone behind their smiles. As the sun sinks, Israel stands among them. A father, a legacy, a shadow cast across history. Under a blanket of stars, the field glowed softly, a sea of grass gently stirring in the night breeze. 12 sons of Jacob huddled around a flickering fire, their faces lit by flame and shadow.
Last night, I dreamed something strange.
What did you see?
Joseph's eyes lowered, his thoughts still tangled in the dream's glow.
I see 11 stars bowing to the sun.
The circle grew tense as glances passed between them, confusion sharpening into suspicion.
You think we'll bow to you?
No!
That's enough.
And then it's how his trial started. Far from home, under the rising sun of Egypt, the city of Cairo unfolded in gold and dust, the land of pyramids, gods, and the unknown. Joseph had been betrayed by blood, sold by his own brothers for silver, traded like cattle. Now he entered a new world, not as a son, but as a slave. He passed beneath archways carved with power, the streets alive with trade and shouting. In a sunlit courtyard, Joseph stood among strangers, still, silent, and watched. From above, Potiphar studied the boy. He is deciding for Joseph. Each second echoed the silence of exile. A gesture, brief and final. Joseph was chosen. Silver crossed from hand to hand. Joseph became property. Potiphar guided him through halls carved with falcons and suns and wealthiness. His eyes widened at the grandeur, not just of stone, but of the possibility that still clung to him. Ironically, he now has a room of his own, but lost his freedom. Joseph worked tirelessly, day after day, earning trust through honest labor. Even the smallest tasks he handled with care, never once needing correction. Years passed. The boy had grown, now a young man with practiced hands and a mind as orderly as the storage behind him. Sacks piled high like harvests of trust, the fruit of loyalty and labor. From above, Potiphar looked down below. Joseph moved confidently between the grain, commanding attention without speaking a word. A smile touched Potiphar's lips, not only of approval, but pride. Potiphar officially promoted Joseph. Potiphar gave Joseph new clothes, a fine Egyptian linen robe. Joseph was no longer just a servant, but from behind the curtain, another gaze lingered, soft, curious, unspoken. Her eyes narrowed in a silent smile, desire, quiet and patient. Joseph stepped into his room, unaware. The door thudded shut behind him. Potiphar's wife stood at the center of the room, no veil, no pretense. Joseph froze, confusion rising with every heartbeat. She faced him, her posture poised, her intent unmistakable. Her smile was soft, but sharp, an invitation disguised as sweetness. Joseph's face froze. Fear took hold as he realized what was unfolding. Her hand gripped his robe, her intention now unmistakable. He tore away, robe slipping through her fingers as he fled for the hallway. Joseph ran, heart pounding, shame chasing his heels. Left alone, she stood trembling, her face twisting from rejection to rage. Moments later, Potiphar's wife accused Joseph of trying to assault her. Her voice was full of outrage. Potiphar's jaw tightened. Fury rising blindly, Joseph was dragged back, wrists tied, forced to kneel like a criminal. Potiphar sat in silence. A flicker of doubt crossed his face. But in the end, he chose to believe his wife. To Joseph, the deepest wound wasn't the ropes or prison. It was losing the trust of the man who once lifted him up. Without a word, Potiphar turned and left. His wife had her revenge. At sunset, Joseph sat on a wooden cart, a rope looped around his neck. a slave again. The wheels turned slowly, stirring up the dust. Joseph was marched through the prison halls, prisoners peering through iron bars. Inside the damp cell, Joseph leaned against the wall, straw beneath him, the sound of dripping water echoing in the dark. He stared at the moonlight on the floor, questioning the Lord for his will on his life. In the cold silence of the stone cell, Joseph sat curled in the corner, a white shaft of moonlight slicing through the darkness like memory. A key turned with a dull clank. Two men in royal garb, their wrists bound, stood framed by torchlight. They were Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. All three sat in different corners of the cell, eyes cast down, the air between them unmoving. Time seemed to hold its breath. They need time to open for their companionship. Darkness returned, stretching long and silent. Joseph woke up at the middle of the night. He sat up in the darkness, eyes drawn toward the two men still asleep across the room. He watched them carefully. Something wasn't right. The cupbearer tossed in his sleep, biting his lip, face twisted in a dream he couldn't escape. The baker clutched his chest, mouth open, tendons stretched, the nightmare taking hold of his body. Morning light spilled across the stone floor, quiet but unforgiving.
What troubles you? We had strange dreams. Tell me.
The cupbearer stared into space. He dreamed of the royal garden, 3 branches heavy with grapes, juice pouring into a silver cup. The baker sat up straight, face stiff, the dream clinging to his skin. In his vision, birds circled overhead, then landed on baskets stacked on his head. Joseph lowered his eyes, lips tightening. He already understood.
Cupbearer, in 3 days Pharaoh will lift you up and restore your position. In 3 days Pharaoh will hang you, baker. I'm sorry.
The two officials exchanged uneasy glances, hope and dread now dividing them.
When you're restored, remember me. Mention me to Pharaoh.
In the great hall, Pharaoh sat between lion-headed armrests, cloaked in gold and judgment. The cupbearer bowed low, sunlight framing him like a crown, the restored servant. Now in new robes, he raised the silver goblet with practiced grace, returned to his place, his dream fulfilled. In the execution yard, the baker screamed beneath the gallows, his fate sealed in silence and prophecy. Back in the cell, Joseph sat alone. The cupbearer has forgot about him. In the dim crimson chamber, Pharaoh lay restless. The fire flickered, casting gold glints on his collar and shadows across a sleepless crown. Pharaoh had just awoken from a strange dream. The chief cupbearer told Pharaoh about Joseph, the Hebrew prisoner who once interpreted dreams. Then Joseph was summoned, right into Pharaoh's bedroom. Pharaoh sat hunched at the edge of his bed. The nightmare still clung to his bones. Then he told Joseph about his dream. A fat cow stood still in silver water. The reeds did not move. All was too quiet. Then came a gaunt cow, bones like blades, eyes low. The world dimmed, the reeds bowed. Your dream said that the kingdom would experience 7 years of prosperity, followed by 7 years of disaster. Pharaoh's face shifted from doubt to awe. Because of his interpretation of the Pharaoh's dream, Joseph was promoted to food distributor. Pharaoh wants Joseph to prove his ability. A courtier knelt and placed the golden collar of power on Joseph's neck. The dust on his robe glowed beneath the late sun. At the edge of Goshen, Joseph placed his hand on a stone tablet. The land was wild, untouched, but the horizon burned with promise. At night, Joseph sat in silence, the dream that changed everything. 7 years of prosperity passed. 7 years of famine came as predicted. Joseph proved himself in an unpleasant way. The harvest was heavy, and the season's edge felt thin. Joseph leaned over a grand map, finger pressing on a key route. Alone, in quiet, he mapped salvation. The ground had split open. A lone ant carried a husk across the dust, a tiny, stubborn echo of survival. Starvation spreaded across the land. At the city gates, the poor gathered, weathered hands holding empty baskets. The guards watched in silence. Joseph sat alone by a lamp, doing his work. Shadows stretched upon him. His mind held the burden of a nation. He gave order where there had been fear. A man knelt before an opened sack, hand resting on it as if in prayer. No words were spoken. None were needed. On the stone balcony, Joseph looked down. Among the distant travelers, his eyes stopped. Something in him stirred. His brothers stood among the crowd, thinner, older, worn by hunger and time. Joseph's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched, his hand tightened at his robe. The past stood below him. They knelt at the foot of the steps, rough, bearded men, humbled, unaware. One placed a hand on his chest, bowing deeper. From Joseph's shoulders, the scene stretched downward. The men who once sold him now bowed low before his feet.
Spies!
Judah stood shaking, arm outstretched, sweat on his brow. Joseph faced him with arms crossed, unreadable.
Do you have a father? Any other brother?
We have a youngest, and one who is gone.
Keep them here for 3 days.
The prison door creaked shut, cutting off the last line of light. Only silence and metal groaning. Inside, the brothers sat in the cold dark. No one spoke. Shame was louder than words.
I have to test them before they know who I am.
Outside the cell, a guard stood like stone. Inside, time held its breath. Without a word, Joseph gestured. Guards seized Simeon. The others watched in stunned silence.
One will stay, the rest must bring the youngest.
Simeon sat in shadow, unmoving. Light caught his cheek. He said nothing, but bore everything.
We should never have harmed Joseph. We did this, and now we pay.
Outside the cell, Joseph stood listening, hand to face. He turned away, his back to the grief he had caused. A single tear fell from Joseph's eye. He has forgave them. The hills rolled under fading light. A group on donkeys returned in silence. Jacob sat motionless, sons before him. None dared step forward. Grief hung in the dust.
I've already lost Joseph. Now Benjamin too?
Benjamin sat alone by the fire, holding an old cloth necklace. His face unreadable, his silence loud. Judah knelt before Jacob, hand on chest, eyes steady.
I will guarantee his life.
Jacob turned his face from them, shoulders slumped. The light touched only half his face. Morning mist blanketed the road ahead. Footprints marked the path, but the journey was uncertain. At the tent door, Jacob placed a hand on the frame. Behind him, Benjamin stood ready. The space between them said everything.
If I lose him too, I'll go to my grave in sorrow.
The next day, they get back to Egpee. Among them, a young man, Benjamin, walks silently near the center. His presence quiet yet central, unaware of the trials ahead. Inside a royal chamber, Benjamin sits between his brothers, eyes fixed on the door, the silence between them heavier than words. A grand banquet awaits. Joseph presides at the head of the table while his brothers, unaware, sit by age. A generous portion is set before Benjamin, more than any other outside the hall. Joseph leans against a stone wall, hand on brow, battling the tide of emotions he cannot show. When he returns, his face is composed, his presence commanding. But he decided to test them once more. He put a silver cup into their package as the brothers depart. Unaware, riders thunder from behind, stirring dust and dread in the morning sun. Armored Egyptian guards descend swiftly, determination etched into their charge. The sacks are laid bare, one by one, a silence of anticipation gripping the air. A guard finds the silver cup, exactly where Joseph planned. The brothers fall to the ground in defeat, wrists bound, faces twisted with anguish. They were accused for thievery. Collapse follows accusation. The brothers sink into the dust, wailing, their guilt resurfacing like a buried curse. From above, the brothers walk through the shadowed corridor. Joseph stands motionless at the far end, awaiting their approach. In the grand hall, Joseph sits upright on his stone throne. Benjamin stands alone before him, head bowed, flanked by two guards. Shafts of light pierce through high windows, casting dramatic shadows. Judah steps forward, hand over his chest, his face smeared with dust, hair disheveled. A close-up reveals Judah's tear-filled eyes, a bead of sweat tracing his temple, lips parted as if pleading. In a private chamber, Joseph faces the wall, hand covering his eyes. His cloak slips off one shoulder, his shadow stretching across the stone wall in the dim evening light. Back in the hall, Joseph stands alone, head lowered. His brothers line the walls, their faces etched with confusion.
You don't realize me? I am Joshua, the brother you had betrayed.
From Joseph's perspective, his brothers appear frozen, some recoiling, eyes wide. One clutches his chest, another glances at his sibling in disbelief.
And I'm here to forgive you.
Joseph embraces Benjamin tightly at the center of the room. Joseph hugs each brother in turn. One reciprocates gently, another stands stiffly, uncertain of how to respond. Jacob would be very proud of this ending. Pharaoh has promised them a new land, and he kept the promise. Joseph led their brother to Goshen, a land of prosperity far from Egypt. Jacob sits still on a stone beneath the rising sun. Around him, packed belongings and the hush of dawn. Hope has returned from the dead.